Because today, man, one of the kids was just telling me how, you know, amazing of a speaker that they thought I was. And, that feels good to hear. And I wanted to know what made them feel that I was a great speaker. He said because it was relatable. It's because I didn't sugarcoat anything. I didn't come in with this facade as if I was perfect, or as if I had life all figured out, or as if I was so professional that I couldn't be human. And I think that's how a lot of people approach situations. They try so hard to drive this barrier between being the adult and them being the kid, or them being the speaker and them being the audience, and trying so hard to be professional that you forget to be human. And the only way that you could ever relate to another human being, a kid or not, man, is to be human. Man, I just recently came from speaking at a school um today, matter of fact. And I've been speaking, man, for about 10 years now. You know, traveled all over the country, man, and been blessed to be able to speak in so many different places, and so many places I still want to go. Um, but I would consider myself, um, a speaker with a lot of experience, right? And I've learned something over the years when it comes to being able to truly connect with your audience, especially the youth, especially today's youth. Because if you really think about it, man, there's nothing new under the sun that these kids haven't heard. Every message has already been said. And there's only so many different ways that you can reinvent and be creative and basically get across the same message, whether that's believing in themselves, whether that's loving themselves, whether that's mental health, whether that's social and emotional learning, whatever it is, whatever the curriculum, whatever the focal point is. There's only so many new ways that you can present information to them. But what I'm learning is, if you truly want to connect with our kids, if you truly want to connect with your audience, period, then how do we find a way to tell our story and extract the lessons in our story and make it so simple and so easy to digest to where they can apply it back to their own life? See, because mentorship and speaking and leading our next generations and inspiring our audiences is no longer about just trying to be deep and trying to be philosophical and trying to get a popular soundbite for your social media anymore. How can you go into this room and be relatable and connect and make them feel something that they haven't felt before? Because again, they've heard everything. They've heard it all. There's nothing new that you can pretty much talk about that hasn't been discussed. But how can you take the same old boring topics and focus points and make it feel new? How can you relate to them in a way where they understand and say, man, he gets me. He gets where I'm coming from. And the thing about it is that you won't connect with everybody. Everybody won't feel you. Everybody won't see where you're coming from. Everybody won't be able to relate because of their own personal life experiences, right? But I think the problem with so many people when it comes to mentorship and speaking and trying to lead, especially again our youth, is that they never remember to be the person that they needed when they were struggling. They never remember to be the person they needed when they were a kid. They never remember to be the person that they needed when they were in the exact same position as the person in that audience that they're speaking to. And if we're not willing to go back to that place and operate from that place when we're serving and we're speaking and we're mentoring, then you'll never be relatable. If all you speak on is your successes now and what you're doing now and what you have now and bragging about those things or gloating those things or whatever the case may be, and you never tell your story, you never let them understand who you really are and how who you are and what you've been through and what you've experienced and what you've learned relates back to them, then you'll never have them. That audience will not care. And so many people I see struggle with that. It's a disconnect. being able to speak to them in their own language. Because, I used to come in with so many things that I used to want to say to the kids, right, when I was speaking to them or to my audience. Until I learned that in order to truly make an impact when it comes to mentorship and to speaking and to serving and being literally a vessel of your community, it's not about what you need. It's asking yourself, man, before you go on that stage, before you go in that classroom, before you meet with that student, what do they need? What did I need when I was their age, when I was in their position? What did I need to hear? What was I dealing with? What was I struggling with? Because one of my biggest gifts, but sometimes feels like a curse, is being able to step into the shoes of other people. Being able to see things from their point of view and bring back the point I'm trying to make full circle so that they can understand in a way that makes sense to them. You know? And I think for anybody that's trying to break into that game of speaking, or is new to speaking, is new to mentorship, is new to, really being of service to the youth and to the community, I think that's just something that I wanted to share with you. Is that you can't approach these situations only thinking about you or making it all about you, but asking yourself, man, how can I help? Man, what do they need right now? And how can I be a solution to what it is that their need is? That makes sense. Because I think when we can answer that question and we can figure out how to do that, man, you have such a better job and chance of being able to say something that sticks with them for the rest of their life. That's all you need. You just need something to land strong enough to where it's like, man, I feel that. I can relate to that. And I want to be better because of that. Because today, man, one of the kids was just telling me how, amazing of a speaker that they thought I was. And, that feels good to hear. And I wanted to know what made them feel that I was a great speaker. He said because it was relatable. It's because I didn't sugarcoat anything. I didn't come in with this facade as if I was perfect, or as if I had life all figured out, or as if I was so professional that I couldn't be human. And I think that's how a lot of people approach situations. They try so hard to drive this barrier between being the adult and them being the kid, or them being the speaker and them being the audience, and trying so hard to be professional that you forget to be human. And the only way that you could ever relate to another human being, a kid or not, man, is to be human. It's to sometimes to be vulnerable. It's to sometimes say the things out loud that you never thought you would say. It's to tell your story. Because when people hear that and they can feel it, when they can feel the genuineness of what you're saying, when they can see the emotion on your face, when they can hear the vindication in your voice, then you know you got them hooked. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that you don't have very long to capture the attention of your audience, especially youth. You don't have very long before they clocked out and checked out on you and are no longer listening to whatever it is that you have to say. Their interaction is low. The morale is low. There is no crowd participation. And it makes your presentation and your speech very hard to get through. And so my number one tip for any young speaker, any young mentor, anybody that's wanting to deal with the youth or deal with the community or deal with just being an agent of change for somebody, is remember what you needed when you were in that position. It's asking yourself, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I make your life easier? And asking yourself, man, what's my story? And how can I tell it in a way that's relatable and that I can extract the lessons from my story and hopefully teach them something? And I think if you just master first those three things, man, you well on your way to being one of the best speakers that ever did it. I just wanted to share that with you. Because this year, I'm going so much harder when it comes to being the speaker that I know I am, and putting my brand out there even more when it comes to being the speaker that I know I am. I know I have a story and a message to get out there to where I'm not trying to be repetitive, and I'm not trying to be like anybody else, and I'm not trying to say anything that's already been said, because I am uniquely me and you are uniquely you. But you just have to find your avenue and your niche and the thing that separates you to where you don't walk into a room and sound like everybody else. You know? And I think if you're able to figure that out, you'll be just fine. I really hope this message helped somebody, man, and it spoke to somebody. Just being able to share some of my business acumen when it comes to speaking, when it comes to mentorship, when it comes to the youth, because that's just something I noticed, man. They don't need any more fairy tale sold to them. They don't need any more. Our youth don't need any more empty promises. They don't need anybody else that trying to enforce rules on them. They need people to give them the game about life, and then hopefully help them figure out some answers to their own life and solve some issues in their life so they can be successful when they become adults, just like me and you. So they're able to articulate in a way their own story and maybe help somebody else that come behind them. That's what it's all about. And I think the sooner we can understand that, and that clicks for us, right, then everything else changes. And I think it's just that simple, man. I love y'all so much. All right. Peace. Hey, what's up? This is Will Z Tidwell with SpeakUPZee. And I just want to take a quick second just to thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of SpeakUPZee the podcast. And my only goal with this platform is to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you around all things life, business, and mental health, whether it's myself or me bringing on a special guest. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We don't ask for any type of monetary gains or anything like that. The best thing you could do for us is just like and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, we'll see y'all later. Peace.